out crowns and I'm aiming at next. No middleman gotta pay me direct. Got started, might think you're a referee. Shit ain't a game if you wait.
Tell me the story about how y'all all started working together.
Word.
You know, just how did it all start off? How the relationship?
I could go my perspective.
Go ahead.
So I've been seeing Edgar's videos online, for quite some time, and just like being a fan of them, how inventive they are, how otherworldly creative. He's always got tricks up his sleeve, like visual cues. And so I was always, just peeping and like, man, I would love to work with this dude. And I think one day he like DM'd me, and I'm like, damn, I don't even know, how this even came together. But I went and I told my people, I'm like, yo, this director I love just like hit me, and he's like, man, let's link up, And so as I was working on this new music, I always kept it in mind. I was like, yo, I gotta get a video with Edgar, you know what I'm saying? And when it came around to it, working on this EP, this independent project, it's my first time being independent. I've always had a record label, you know what I mean? So doing things in a different way, doing things more off the muscle. And I was like, man, I want to work with Edgar, you know what I'm saying? But I imagine that like the budget of it, you know what I mean, maybe too difficult, you know what I'm saying, to do dolo, independent. And I reached out to him, we found a time to talk, and he started telling me about these iPhone videos he's doing. And I didn't even know you had done the Carly video in Egypt. I had seen that, and I was like, this video was done on an iPhone? I was just blown away, but I didn't know you did it. So when we started speaking, and you were talking about the possibility of us just going somewhere, letting the production be the location, and shooting it on an iPhone, and how that could open up different possibilities, and really being open to just working with me. I knew, this would be the point of what I had to say, I knew that was an act of God, like an experience based on the energy, positivity, and the acts of service that I put into the world and put into the universe. So often knowing that it won't come back to me from the people I'm giving it to, I knew that in that moment I was like, oh, God placed you along this path, you know what I'm saying, to, in a way, like reciprocating some of the things that I feel like I've just put into the ether with other people. And yeah, that was how we came together.
Yeah, that's sick. That's actually a dope story. Thanks for that. Because when I hit you, it's like, I remember you were speaking about your independence and how you just got off the label, and like how you're excited to release your music. The reason why, honestly, I reached out to you, and I don't even know if he knows this, but it was just like a situation where, he was promoting his independence and how he was gearing up to drop like an album. And when I saw that message, I already know that a few artists, when they go to do this independent route, it's like, it's a little different. It's a whole new learning curve, right? You don't got a video commissioner to, budget out videos and to find product placement and all these things. And like, because we talked about this, and too, because you were there the whole journey, it's just like, for me, like, rappers are really the reason why I'm even in this position now. You got me? And it's just like, and I know a lot of people have a stigma on rappers and how they look and how they dress and how they talk or how they carry themselves, but not all of them are like that. And I've gotten to know them over the last 10, 15 years of my directing career for music videos. And that's where I saw Vic. I'm like, yo, I want to help you and I want to see you win, so let me know how I can help. And then you're like, look, man, I don't have too much of a budget. I'm spending money on all these things. I really want to build, but how can we make this work? And I was like, yo, let's shoot it on iPhone. And you're like, let's go to, we were thinking of a few countries, but then we ended up landing on Senegal. And yeah, we just took a flight on there on a Friday and we left on a Monday. And we had no treatment, no idea, but Vic was doing all the research and basically just knowing where to go, kind of creating an itinerary for us. And I was like, wherever you take me, I'm just gonna shoot it and I'll figure out the rest later. and that's where, you know, we brought this guy in, you know.
Yeah, so what a handoff. You said, yo, how rappers look.
You could tell us his first interview.
Nah, look. You said how rappers look, and Vic started like picking up his hoodie. He's like, yo, I don't look that way.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Nah, yeah, no, I mean how the project started and like even how I got involved. That, you know, every day me and Edgar talk, and then he's like, yo, I just did this with Vic, and I was like, bro, you work with Vic? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, bro, like, I love Vic. Like, not so much.
He loves you, bro.
Not like that, but like just the energy that you give off, like what you're speaking about, and like how you're always, besides the music, it's like, yo, you're like on Instagram today posting about immigration, you know, in Chicago. And like those things are important for me and for a lot of people, right? So whatever, back to the story. Edgar's like, yeah, do you want to work with him? And I said, yeah, I'm down. He's like, bro, I got the edit. Like, I just need you to sit down with him and like try to sauce it up. And then that's how I met Vic. And then we spent the whole day there working, and we made a goat talk.
Sauced it
Or a
up.
camel.
Oh, straight up, sauced it up.
The energy's all on.
Man, you know, one thing I was gonna say was like, it's so dope to me that this came largely out of those things you spoke about, out of different things I talk about on the internet. Like some time ago, I had the idea that if I was to just express the things that I think and that I talk about with my friends in front of a camera, that could change my life in ways, and change the energy around me. And sometimes I'll be doing that shit and I'll be like, man, I'm putting a lot of work into this, you know? It's like Instagram ain't paying me. I don't get like, you know, it's not even like TikTok where you get money from like being a content creator or some shit. And beyond that, it's like, I'm an artist, you know? So I sometimes find myself frustrated with that shit, but then I'll be like, man, at the same time, me just expressing my humanity and the things I care about and supporting causes I care about, like immigration or, you know, Africa, Chicago, people's rights, human rights, literally brings people into my life that like ultimately I create great relationships with and come and bless me. You know what I'm saying? Like based off of just expressing my humanity online. And that's something I think we talk about a lot. Is like, I really believe that the energy you put into the universe is non-linear. So you do not know from which direction, you know, you don't know which direction 100%. The returns will come from when you put energy into the universe. You may be helping someone very directly that doesn't have the ability to reciprocate, but then that might bounce off a wall and pop up for Joanne or Edgar, and then that come back and it's reciprocated.
You know, it's funny because it's like, we went to Invest Fest, right? And we were there, and it's just like, you know, I buy a ticket, it's $250. One of the guys on the camp follow me, so I'm like, yo, let me go support, because they've been giving me a lot of game in terms of financing and investing. And then Vic is like, oh, I might be going too. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I go to Atlanta, I don't even text nobody, I'm just going by myself. And then he's like, yo, you in the A? I'm pulling up, I'm flying in. And I'm like, okay, cool. And there's an event that people pay like $10,000 for. It's a VIP night, right? And there's only one night. And then next thing you know, I'm just like, all right, cool. The Invest Fest is done at 6 o'clock. I don't have a VIP night ticket. I don't know these people. You know, I've tried to network, I've tried my hardest, but I can't get in for free. So I'm gonna go back to the hotel because I'm not spending no $10,000 to get into no event. Ever. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go back to the hotel. And as soon as I get back to the hotel, Vic texted me, hey bro, you wanna come to this event tonight? And I'm like, oh snap. And just within like doing that, it's just like reciprocating the energy. He's like, yo, you wanna be my plus one? And I'm like, yeah, bet. And we went there, we connected, we networked with some people, and you know, we had a good time. And it just goes to show that like, you never know when a door is gonna open for you. And you kind of have just like let go and let God, you know?
I think the last thing I would say on that topic, man, is like a story from a time when I had a friend of mine who I was helping a lot. He's an artist, brilliant painter. He's now getting a lot of shine, actually. When he first moved out to Florence, Italy, I helped him to get his ticket and get like his apartment. And then a few years ago, I set up a curator show at Soho House with him and interviewed him. We put a piece of his in this show in Miami, Shattered Glass. And I went down there to Miami to like make sure everything went well, support him in it. And I was like, at a certain point that day, I was like, man, I'm investing so much in bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, why am I doing this? You know, what is this really gonna do for me? You know, I started to doubt a little bit, you know, honestly, because my ego started to become involved. And I was seeing Jeffrey Deitch, these big art world people, they're all like, yeah, he's the shit, you know, and my ego is kind of like, man, you know, what about me? You know what I'm saying? And I'm walking down South Beach Street or whatever, Miami. I'm walking down that main street in South Beach, and I had this realization, a return to form, where I was like, you know, when you make a deposit in the bank of the divine, then the returns are exponential, and you never know, you know, a deposit in the bank of the divine. So I try to live like that. I try to live in that way, to be like, when I do things oftentimes, it might just be for God. I might really be doing it for a human being. Like, I give people on the street $100 a lot of the time, just because that's my practice. But it's not necessarily, it's for them, but really I'm doing it like, this is,
Paying it forward.
I'm paying it forward, because I know how the universe will bring people like Edgar and Joanne into my world if I live my life with that ethos that I give. You know, that's what I do. I give.
Yeah, it's when we started working, like I knew you had a little bit of this side of you, but I didn't really know like full extent. And like, cause you know, sometimes you see someone on Instagram, and sometimes I think people see me that way. They're like, wow, like you're always giving back. You're always giving so much people energy. Like, you're always helping out. And it's like, are you really that way, or are you just say that you're away for like a public image? And it's like, I think when we got together, we kind of saw each other, and we were like, okay, like these are the real deals. Mm-hmm. And you know, I think that's the same thing with Joan. I think he saw that same thing in you when we guys did the edit session.
Yeah, but going into the edit session was weird, because I don't know if I mentioned it, but like, I think it was like my second time ever coming to LA. I jumped on the plane, and I'm walking, and this was like 7 years ago, and Vic was in the same plane as me, and like, I'm walking by, and I could tell, like, you know when someone knows who you are, right? So I look at Vic, and I'm like, oh shit, that's Vic. And I kept walking, but he was like we kind of were like in the corner, and you just put your hoodie up, and I was like, damn, like, is he gonna be like cool? Is he gonna be chill? Like, I don't know. I just thought about that one moment 7 years ago, and I was like, damn, let's see how it goes. But yeah, that's hilarious.
That's funny as hell, man.
He was like, yo, don't talk to me. You could tell you noticed that I knew who you were. And
Oh,
like,
man, I mean, you know what? Like, I think that's one thing about having ups and downs in this game, is that loss will give you humility. And people misunderstand humility. People think to have humility is to shrink yourself, to make yourself small. But really, it's to see things as they are. You know what I mean? To see that God is far, far, far above you, and that every human being is on exactly equal standing with you. And for much of my life, I didn't grasp it. I didn't really understand. I think maybe I had so much pain, and I had so much anxiety and depression, and also money and success, and that magnifies those things, that I didn't have the gratitude. You know, I didn't have that humility, to where now I do my best to like really just be appreciative of every person, whether or not they like do anything for me, even if they just recognize me, just notice me, you know what I mean? Or just walk by me on the street. Like, I literally, now I smile at people, you know what I'm saying? When I see them, and I tell myself, because it's gratitude, I tell myself, man, be a person that smiles at somebody on the street. Be a person that smiles at somebody that sees you. Be a person that if somebody acknowledges you, you know, you show them love, because it's a good thing to do. It helps your experience of life.
Yeah, but it's kind of vice versa, no? Like, I think about that moment, and I'm like, I'm understanding that everybody's human. Like, I don't know what could have, like, you could have been on the plane and you got the worst call of your life and like
Stressed.
So it's like it's the same thing. Like, just like you said, it's humbling yourself, but also understanding that we're all humans, right? So like sometimes someone comes at me a certain way and I'm like, I don't know what they dealt with, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So
Having
especially
grace
those
for
morning,
people.
yeah, and just having
Also,
grace and patience.
To go into that point is also, I think what we saw in each other was like we're creatives because you're an editor, I'm a director, and you're an artist by paper, right? But like I thought like also like we're all entrepreneurs. You get me? So when Vic is saying, oh, I'm spending my own money to go on these flights to Senegal, like I know exactly how much you're probably spending. Like it's probably like $2K a ticket per person. You add that up, food, make sure you're where you stay, transportation, outfits, the belts, all that stuff. Like I'm like, yeah, he's spending his own money on this. So I was like, at least I could do is just say, you know what, like wipe off the director fee. Let me just be a part of the experience because you were so heavily involved in it that like this video would have not been this video with anybody else. Nobody else could do this video. You get me? And it's just like, yeah, I captured it, but you really brought the ethos, you brought your spirit, you brought Senegalese, you brought those cowboys from Botswana, you brought all that energy that you wanted to put into this. And that's where like, even when I called John as an entrepreneur, I was like, look, I got this project. I just edited this video, but I need to sauce it up. But we're trying to get this wrapped up, because I know you want to drop it. And I'm like, look, I don't know if I'll have the time though, because I'm getting booked for so many other jobs. And that's where you're like, yo, let me know if you want me to get another editor. And I was like I'm like, yo, I got the perfect guy. And I called John, and as an entrepreneur, he sees what I'm trying to do too and how I'm trying to build this. So he's like, you know what, I got you. Didn't ask me for nothing, didn't ask me for a rate, didn't ask me for anything. He was just like, look, I got you. I was like, can you do it tomorrow? And I'm over here praying that John can do it tomorrow. And then Vic is like, yeah, let's do it tomorrow. And then everything wrapped up, the video was great. And just goes to show that like, when you're working, it's like to align with the right energies too. Not everyone you work with is gonna have that right energy. You won't always get a Vic who's a cool person, and then we'll go to different events and we'll hang out together, and I've been to your house for a barbecue and things like that. That doesn't always happen. So when it does, I really do appreciate it. And I just wanna say thank you guys, because
Likewise,
you guys really did make this video what it had to be. I know what I contributed to it, but you guys really did bring it to life and finished it strong when, I needed the help.
I appreciate you, bro. Fucking Joanne, the first
Colombian Muslim.
Oh yeah.
that I've ever met. But low-key, I thought that was so dope. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, obviously, like Edgar, I'm Muslim, and that means a lot to me. Like Islam means a lot to me, and I'm a new Muslim. Both of us are converts to Islam, but he's been Muslim much longer than me. I'm a new Muslim, and like when I went to sit down with you, working on this edit, and I learned you're a Muslim, and I learned like your principles as a man and the things you stand on and things you believe. I was like, damn, like the spiritual alignment of it, is like is really profound. And then like even making the step to go shoot the video in Senegal. So the album is called Sundiata, the independent project that I just put out. It's called Sundiata, which is the founder of the Mali Empire in West Africa. Senegal was a part of that. And Mansa Musa was the richest man in history, emperor of Mali, is very connected to Senegal, that whole part of the world. I got obsessed with Mansa Musa. I really don't know how or when, but I just did. I named my son Mansa Musa Mensa. I started making this album. I started studying his history. And then I just happened to learn that my father's mother's father, so maybe like grandfather or great-grandfather, was actually from the north in Ghana, which is that same area as Senegal and Mansa Musa. So like spiritually, all this found me. I started diving into it just thinking I was, voyeuristically interested. Like, oh, this is cool. I want to learn about this. But ultimately, I was really learning about myself, what was already in me. I think sometimes when you make art and even just move with pure intention and creativity, that you find where you were supposed to be. Like, I never knew that my family was from that same region of the world. I never knew. And my dad just never, he didn't tell me. Even after I named my son Mansa Musa, he didn't tell me.
So when you went to Senegal, did you know like that you had family there already, or was this a conversation when you were thinking about the locations to shoot?
Oh, I didn't know. When we went to Senegal, I didn't know that.
So we definitely stayed at some auntie's crib.
That's my play auntie. That's my French
okay.
auntie, my Paris auntie.
Okay, there you
She's
go.
like, she's fashion auntie.
Yeah.
She's like auntie to the stars. You know what I'm saying?
Auntie lit though.
Auntie lit.
Auntie
She wasn't
lit.
even there. She just got the big ass crib over
man.
by the water. But I didn't know when we went to Senegal. I had no clue that my family was actually from up there. Like, my father ended up telling me that his great grandfather's name was Kamara, and he always wondered, who are the Kamara? What does that mean? And somewhere along his journey, he met somebody else who knew about the Kamara people, and they're like a Mandinke people from that same region of the world, and it just played out like that. But I feel like a lot of what interests me about the Black American experience is how inescapable your roots are, how inescapable your history is. You know, like, Black Americans have been uprooted and been out of their element for so long, but they still pop up with things like Chicago footwork or juke music, and it's do 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 do, or Baltimore club music, or crumping in LA. Like, this is such African shit that no person from the continent of Africa had to teach Black American people, because it was in them. You know, it's like that ancestry is inside of us, and you'll find your way to what you already know, you know?
You guys really dived into this like mixed media style. So,
Yeah.
like, talk to me about who did it, what was that process like, what was the turnaround, all that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of jumped in on this edit when it was already, Edgar had done a cut. And then when I sat with Vic, we were looking at it and we're doing some AI stuff, like we're playing around, we're trying to figure out how to connect shots and how to make things different. And then we're just sitting there having a conversation, and Edgar had introduced me to, I forget how to pronounce their name, Eve?
Yeah, I think it's
Evgeny.
yeah.
Evgeny. And we just had finished something, and I was like, man, I think this video would look crazy if we had some type of mixed media in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I pitched it to Vic so he could pitch it to Edgar. And then and it came out. Like, the post process was that, like, once we locked the cut, it was sending that cut to them and putting it together.
But it's funny because before Evgeny, I already had him in mind, so we were already on the same page.
Word.
So it was already a connection. So when you brought it up to me and you were saying, oh, I was talking to Vic about mixed media, I'm like, all right, cool. That's when I, like, instead of saying it to you first, I was like, let me just see how this edit goes, and then from there we can kind of like attest to what we're gonna do. But this guy just did a video for me and Jordan, and I liked what he did on the mixed media.
Oh, he did that?
Yeah, he did that. So
dope.
I was like, all right, cool. Let's see if we can use him again. But I remember, like, you know, like, we were on a budget, and I like to treat clients' money like it's mine. So I was like, you know, before I do that, let's see what we can do first, so we can make sure it's right. And we just got to the point where the edit looked great. We had the AI transitions in them, but then we're like, yo, we need one little thing to make this video a little different. So when people see this, it's not just like a viral video that was shot in Senegal, but also a viral video that was shot on iPhone, and how we use techniques to basically elevate what the iPhone can look like.
Word.
And I think that's really where, like, that's really, I think, the real gem of this video is that it just shows that, like, you could just pick up your camera, the same phone that I have in my pocket right now, and pull out a little tripod and shoot a music video, and this is how it turns out. And I think that's gonna give a lot of courage and a lot of bravery to these young creators who are coming up and saying, yo, he's doing it like that. So it might be cool, you know?
Yeah, I really think that all we have is our perspective to set us apart, you know? Like, the tools are ubiquitous. Everyone has access to the necessary tools to create. It's just, what's your perspective? Obviously, everybody can't get on a plane and go to Senegal, you know, but that's not everybody's perspective to begin with. Even the mixed media part, so cool to me, because in starting this project, one of the first pieces of creative research I did with my man Moha was bought all these vintage African magazines from the 70s, magazine called African Arts, some Jamaican sound system record cover books, and also some punk rock record cover books, and we scanned hella shit just to get a different base of references than everybody else has on Pinterest. Because how many times do you go through your Pinterest board and you see a video or a photo shoot drop and you're like, damn, they used that same one, like I've been holding that. Because we're all recycling the same references. So I tried to go into some actual archival books and magazines to get references that other people don't have. So then when y'all told me about the mixed media, I was like, man, this is the perfect usage for all those scans.
Yeah, and it was cool because they asked for scans, like they asked for like items. They're like, yo, what do you want to put this in? And you had it already, like
a whole folder.
It was like, it was the fastest thing ever. It was like
3 minutes because I already got that.
You sent it already, and I was like, damn, he had this that fast? That's cool.
Hey, you were sending me those before we even shot the
video. Oh yeah, I sent you those
like,
just as references. You know what I'm saying? Even the AI thing, man. I think that the way we use AI in this video and the way that you've been using AI in your edits, it's just tasteful, you know, because it can go wrong easily, but obviously it's the tool of the future. Yeah. You can't be afraid of it. Like my mom is deathly afraid of AI. She's like, I'm not fucking touching that shit. Yeah. But I'm like, man, it's such a tool creatively. Like it's a tool for my creativity. So we're shooting this video on an iPhone in front of the biggest statue, one of the tallest statues in West Africa, if not the tallest statue in West Africa. And it already looks ill, but with the AI transitions, we're able to make it look like we had a crane. You know, like we're able to make it sweep in, how you did with the Adekunle Gold video. When I saw that, the way that you used AI for those transitions, I was like, that's the key. That's really where it's at, because a lot of the AI special effects, they can get mad corny real quick.
We don't want to remake Vic at a statue. We just want to shoot you at a statue and then elevate it and add to it.
Yeah, and then adding on to like, it's funny because Edgar's been doing these iPhone videos, but like I feel like with the iPhone videos, there's less like pressure, right? Than like an edit where like you shot on a Sony Venice and all this stuff. So it's kind of like when I get the iPhone videos, Edgar's like, yo, just go off. Like, and I can play around with so much AI. And you've seen it, like sometimes we do like 30 prompts and we don't get what we want. It takes so much time, but like it's definitely fun trying to figure out AI and how to get what you want from it. And then back to the iPhone thing is just, the iPhone gives you a freedom almost, right? Like you're able to do whatever you want and put it together and make it look right. You know?
The prompting shit is mad fun too though. Like when I got the prompt that really made the camel yell, I was so proud of myself, bro. I was like, damn, I snapped, G. Like I brought this thing that was in my mind, like into reality, you know what I'm saying? Through that through the prompting, you know what I'm saying?
That's the fun part about AI, is just like to be able to like learn as I'm going. Like, you know, you do all these big sets, you got all these cameras, you got all these cranes, you got this enormous amount of crew to help you, you know, and then it's like now it's just me behind a computer trying to figure out how I'm gonna make this thing possible. And I think that's like, I feel like I've been falling in love with filmmaking all over again because of AI. Because before I started losing it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
because the
like,
new tools.
Yeah, it's like you're doing a commercial, you go back to a music video. You've already done 1,000 music videos. You've already done hundreds of commercials. It's like, what's next? And you're waiting to make your movie, but it's like, how do I create? How do I keep things progressively? How do I keep my mind racing with new ideas and innovation? And that's where like AI, when I started working with Carly in Egypt, and I saw how the way she edited it, I'm like, wow, like, okay, so if she can shoot it like this, if I can shoot it like this, and she can edit it like that, let's make it happen. And now she's in Tokyo filming, taking the skills that she learned from me in filming, and I'm taking the skills that I learned from her editing, and we've been putting those two together to continue growing our, you know, our bag, really.
Word.
But no, and back to like the creativity thing, right? It's kind of like what DSLRs was for us like 10 years ago. Like you can pick up a camera and now go shoot a music video without having real budget, or like you can be like, yo, you're an upcoming artist, let me grab a DSLR. And like there was such a boom of creativity and like saturation of people coming into the game that would never have the access to it. And I think AI is doing the same thing, right? Like I'm able to make it look like a sweep, like a camera, like you guys had a whole crew there through AI, you know, and like elevate the video in a way that shows that it was a bigger budget or shows a different light. So that's what I like about AI right now too. It's almost like going back to zero and like, how do I make this look
It's
nuts?
a new era, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a new era.
Guys, I'm curious. There was that one shot where you were with your family, right? And it's
Oh,
the
yeah.
shot. Can you talk to me about why that's so important, especially because there is AI on that as well? Like, what's it like getting an intimate moment like that and adding this like fusion of VFX and stuff? Like, what do you think was the importance of that in this music video?
Yeah, man. So we went to shoot. We shot at the Monument of African Renaissance. It's the tallest statue in Senegal, perhaps in West Africa. And it's the man, woman, and child. And Edgar had this idea. He was like, yo, we're gonna turn you and your girl and your baby into this statue. And I was just like, that's hard. I don't know how we're supposed to do that, you know what I mean? But that's hard,
Yeah.
like we have to do that. And you know, eventually when we came back to LA, we found a day and was able to just get him into my backyard and once again shot it with an iPhone and got my baby to point into the sky. You know what I mean? My girl taller than me, so she had to kind of crouch down to make me look like, you know what
Shot
I mean?
too.
Got my baby to point into the sky, and you know babies don't do what you ask them to do, you know? So got him to point into the sky, and then
On the first shot though.
it was.
Yeah, remember, I was like, all right, cool. And then he did it, and I'm like, I think he did it. And you're like, wait, do we need to do more? And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't know if we can get him to do
He
another
was not
one.
going to do it again.
And he didn't do another one.
He
We
was
tried
not going
one
to do
more
it again.
time,
And then we were
yeah.
trying, I feel like we were trying with the AI, but
For so long for that
you know what I'm
shot.
saying? We really had to sit down and
And they
just
kept changing you into like some random, remember? Like you're like, yo, who's this guy?
kept making me look crazy as hell, you know, but it came
Yeah.
together, man. It's
Yeah.
like it's definitely my favorite
Yeah.
shot in the video. And it wasn't easy to get, but I think
You're gonna look back at that one.
super dope. And part of it is also the production that you get from being in a place like Senegal. Senegal is such a beautiful country. It's got this unique blend of West African, Islamic, and French influences. So that's in everything from the architecture to the clothing to the food. We got that shot where I'm wearing the Muslim robe, playing the guitar. That's based off of this Tuareg North African band called Tinirawin. I don't even know how they pronounce their name. But I was just pulling from all these different inspirations. And then, you know, being in Senegal, we eating the best fucking food. I think, to me now, it's my favorite food on the planet.
Jollof?
Bro, I mean, we're eating the jollof, the Senegalese jollof, because Senegalese
Whatever those
invented
breakfast baguettes were, I don't know what they're called. But yeah, we'll take one of those.
breakfast
every day.
sandwich, take West African spices, lamb on a baguette, crazy.
Yeah.
We crouched on the ground eating the Senegalese jollof,
Damn, you gotta
4 of us with a spoon.
come over. My wife makes the craziest lamb shank,
Word?
and she's Middle Eastern, and bro, it's
Bro, I'm
nuts.
trying to slide,
She makes it for my
man.
birthday. That's the one thing I asked for, and it's like they start cooking it at like 4 in the morning.
Oh no,
It
I'm
gets-
trying to slide,
it's
bro.
like
And,
good all
and
day.
I'm trying to rock with you
Yeah.
during Ramadan, man.
Yeah.
I never have
Yeah.
Muslim people
No, we should do it.
to fuck with during Ramadan. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always lone wolf Ramadan. Like
Yeah,
I've never had what do you call the last meal of the day? I'm blanking. When you break fast, what's it called?
Damn, you're like, the thing about Vic is like, when we met, he was talking to me about Islam, right? And like, you know, I've converted and like, I've been in it for so long, but like, you study everything so well, and like, you know, like Fahad, you know, like all these things, and like, I got into it, and like, I feel like I just let the world take over, and like, I do Ramadan obviously because it's almost like a holiday, it's like Thanksgiving, like, you know, like, we do things because culturally my wife's family is like that, and I've been in it for so long that like I understand the culture, but like I blank out on those things too.
Even
and
Eid though.
yeah, and
Even
Of
Eid.
course.
Like,
And
I've never really done an Eid.
And even when I went home and I was talking to my wife, I'm like, damn, like, Vic is so invested into the religion that, like, I feel like he was asking me questions and I wouldn't know, and I just felt so phony. And I was like, bro, like, I told my wife, I'm like, yo, we should start praying. Like, we should, like help me out, man. You know? But yeah.
Prayer is good, man.
Yeah.
Man, but you know what though? I really appreciate
Yeah.
I appreciate when I'm around other Muslims because it makes me want to take it more seriously.
Of course.
Like if I'm with another Muslim person and my phone goes off saying it's the time to pray, it's harder for me to look at them too and be
Yeah.
like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do it. You know what I mean? It's like, cause I'm like, man, we here together. We should be
course.
doing this. You know, like you told me that through some of your work with Ashake, like how much he would be on his deen, on his prayer.
Yeah, the
then
thing
that
about-
made you, that influenced, you know, your relationship with God.
The thing about like Africa is like when you get there, it's like, especially like places like Nigeria, like you have like such a Muslim identity, but you also have such like a Christian, you know, everything else identity as well. So it's basically like you just see a Shake. Like I remember it was like after the O2 Arena, he just sold it out, 20,000 people, and the first thing he does is go to the back and he prays. You got me? And I'm just like, and I'm there filming it, and I'm like, wow, like this guy just prayed after one of his biggest moments where he could talk to every celebrity, he could talk to every person of press, but he decided to pray, and it really motivated me to say, you know, in my highest moments, and when I'm winning at the highest moments, to make sure I'm thankful, and when I'm low, and when I'm losing, and at my lowest moments, I gotta pray too, because prayer has helped me, and I might pray maybe 35 times a day. I promise. Like I pray all the time. I prayed right before I came here, just because it's just like, you know, it just resets me in a way. And then when the day catches up to you, like a prayer rate just brings me back to balance, and that's kind of what I learned from Ashake, because after that high, you can be like, your ego could be so high probably, and he just dropped it down just by praying. And and that's something that I took from him, and I've been implementing it in my own life, and you know, and with my religion that I grew up with, you know, and it's been helpful.
Yeah, you gotta remember that. That's a clip right there. That right there was a good clip.
Yeah, no, it's really
The first
really helpful.
artist I ever saw on set like was Kevin Gates. Like when we were shooting back in the day, we did the we did a couple on that album.
Yeah.
Like mid, like we're shooting a performance and it was time, and he like was like, yo, I gotta pray, and then his wife or his baby mama at the time comes with like a bowl of water, and then he does his dua, he does everything.
Fire.
In front, bro, like right here, imagine like me cutting and then like praying in front of everybody. Like he
no
just
matter
put
what
his
time
mat.
it was. Like we're in the middle of a shot and we're like, yo, the
Yeah.
sun is about to set.
You're
He's
gonna
like,
inspire-
nah. He's like, nah, I
Yeah,
don't
bro.
care. He's
You're
like,
gonna
yeah.
inspire me, man.
Yeah.
I gotta get back on
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
man, because I feel like, just in.
No, you would like the story. We're doing Two
time.
Phones with Kevin Gates, and I don't forget, it was a sunset shot. I was the director of photography for that video.
Yeah.
So I used to like DP for other directors back in the day, and I'm filming this shot, and we're at the top of a parking lot, and it's a song Two Phones, which is like one of his
Yeah,
biggest
it's one
hits.
of the biggest tracks.
And I remember being like, all right, cool. The artist showed up late, no problem. The sun is setting. We got our shot. Everything's
Yeah.
beautiful. But I guess at a certain time, you gotta
Yeah, it's
pray.
right before.
So
Yeah.
so he has to pray during sunset, and the sun is literally dipping behind the building.
He
as he's
didn't
praying,
care.
and I'm like, yo, we need our shot. But it was like,
But even if
know,
you look at those shots, they're a little darker there.
yeah, they're a little
But
darker just because we had to shoot it after he prayed. So that's how faithful he is to his, you know,
Yeah.
to him.
But you
love
He's
that.
being a Muslim.
Yeah, yeah.
With this video, like, bro, we went to Senegal, like dead ass.
No
like,
plan. Yeah, yeah.
Like on a Wednesday, he's like, yo, I booked a ticket. We leaving Friday. I'm busy just getting my luggage together.
No, you were in the hospital, bro.
Oh, yeah, I was in the hospital. I was in Miami, right? So I was in Miami.
Yeah, something happened. Like you
Bruh.
got over exhausted.
Yo, oh yeah, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. I didn't even remember that. Yeah, bro.
I didn't even know if we was gonna be able to go. He was in the hospital.
Oh, yeah,
I was
I
like,
went
man, I'm not
I
gonna
went
like
to the ER because
stress him to be like, man, get out
Yo,
the
I got
hospital.
the ticket.
I didn't get refundable tickets either. So I was just like, I was already kind of preparing myself,
250 security fees?
preparing
Nope.
myself mentally. I was like, hey, look,
No,
man,
it
what's
was-
meant to be will be. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's actually a funny story. Like, I'm in Jordan and I'm shooting a video in Jordan, and I literally fly to Miami for 2 days. I literally just fly back home just to have literally dinner with my parents. And I think that night that I had dinner in Miami, or maybe it was something I ate at the Jordan airport or at the Istanbul airport, whatever, like went super wrong in my stomach. And I had this thing called coronavirus type A, which is like a stomach flu, and basically just sent me to the ER. Like, I'm talking about like everything you can think, every system when it comes to a stomach flu. And then basically, I remember texting Vic like, damn, like, bro, I'm really messed up. Like, I'm not even lying. I'm at a hospital. Like, I'm at an ER, and I never go to the hospital. My parents are Spanish. They'd be like, we gonna throw some Robitussin on it and we keep it moving. And I was like, yo, like, this is really gonna, like, damn, like, I went to this guy's energy and time. And man, I went to the ER because I'm like, I need to get better now because I'm going to Senegal. And yeah, we went to the ER, everything got taken care of. They did all these shots, they did all these tests, and I rested for one more day. And that Friday, I ended up leaving to Senegal. And that's when we did the video. And I was still a little messed up, but I was like, you know what? Like, I just came from a 20-hour flight, but I'm like, I'm just such a man of my word that I'm like, yo, I like,
you, bro.
And I know how it feels like to be in those positions and have someone like, you know, or like this interview where someone just walks through. It's just like, I know how that feels. So I'm glad that I went back because honestly, it's like, honestly, one of my favorite videos that I shot this whole year.
I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it to come out too.
Yeah,
like it shows so much creativity and it shows so much. It's different how like literally this is all it took. You know, like other videos,
yeah, and the people of Senegal, for real.
Of course, and the people of Senegal and like everybody. Auntie, shout out to Auntie. I don't know.
So many people showed us love down there, you know what I'm saying?
But what I'm saying, like, you guys went out there, did what you guys had to do, and it didn't take a whole village. It didn't. It just took the energy, and it took like, yo, let's do this, and the video stands for itself. Like, it's one of those videos where you can look at it 5, 6 months from now or a year from now, and you're like, damn, I still fuck with this idea. I fuck with this video. And those are the videos I like. And I also like the process and the energy of it. It was cool.
I'm trying to think about some of the other places we went or things that happened in Senegal. We shot with the monument, the mosque.
You know what was really dope to me? You could talk a little bit about the island and explain a little bit about the history. But it was cool how, like, I felt like when I was shooting you, I felt like in a way you were rewriting history.
Yeah, like, Gorée Island.
Yeah.
Man, the story of Gorée Island is super interesting. So Gorée Island is right off the coast of Dakar, the capital city of Senegal. And Gorée is one of the first places that Europeans stationed stolen humans while they were invading Africa and making their way to America. I got this theory about Mansa Musa. So Mansa Musa, I believe, is the single most impactful figure in the creation of our modern world today, everything we sit in, because when he went on his pilgrimage to Mecca and had thousands of camels covered in gold, he put Africa on the map, literally, on a 16th century map, on a 13th century map called the Catalan Atlas, made by some Europeans, Spanish, I believe. And he's sitting there holding a bunch of gold. So that was the moment when the Europeans were like, we need to go find that shit. And where they first stopped and made a station is off the coast of Senegal, near where we stopped, Gorée Island. So Gorée Island was the point of no return. That was where they put enslaved Africans in this castle. And so I do think it was cool that we're able to go down there and create something beautiful out of a place that like has such a history of pain and trauma, and repurpose and reimagine, you know what I mean, what it can look like. Another one of the things to me that was the dopest experience I had in Senegal, one of the dopest experiences I had in Senegal was when we was on the side of the road eating that jollof out of the bowl, how the video went viral because we're like, yo, this is the best jollof. There was a man who came out of nowhere and he asked us, do y'all want some tea? And I was like, yeah, you know, like, why are you asking me if I want tea? In America, I feel like we're so programmed to suspicion that you're like, what might be in this tea? It's poisoned. Or why are you talking to me? But he asked us, do you want some tea? Because it would go well with your food. We said, yeah. He walked away. He came back 5-10 minutes later with 6 metal cups that I can only assume he got from his crib, filled with ataya, which is their national tea, their national drink, super fire tea. He gave it to us, we drank. And then he just went on his way. And I was so taken aback because I was like, where do they do shit like that? Just be that generous and that kind. And I went on to learn that Senegal and the Wolof people, they have this concept called teranga, which is essentially extreme charity and generosity. It's the ethos of their nation, of their people, is a level of generosity so severe, or a level of generosity so extreme that they're known for taking strangers into their home. And I thought back to the man who literally stopped his day to go to his house to bring us something to drink just because. But that's how they live their life, you know? And that was super inspiring to me, this teranga, because it's like, man, we live in America where everything is dog eat dog, it's cutthroat, don't speak to me, you know what I mean? Don't even look at me, actually.
Yeah.
You know, like Americans, we ready to fight because somebody looked you in the eye.
Yeah.
Whereas other people on this planet, man, you gotta go places in the world to recognize we don't have to live like this. We don't have to be ready to fight somebody for looking at us too long on the train. You know, like, people are on this planet just being generous and giving charity because that's what they do, you know?
Yeah, really the community is really what like I saw a lot. Like the way like they work out in the video, you can see these guys doing push-ups and these kids wrestling and they're rowing and they're doing all these type of activities. But like, I'm not kidding, like what was like endless miles of people just working out.
Together.
Just imagine if people, like a park that's just like 3 miles long and people are just working out throughout the whole thing. And I'm talking about hundreds or if not thousands of people. And they're all working out. We even like tried to do a scene where you were doing the bench press, but they were pressing us like, yo, move, we gotta work out. So I couldn't get the shot as much as I wanted to, and it came out a little blurry, so we didn't add it to the video. But it's so funny because like the community was something that I took away from Senegal. It's like, wow, like they work out with each other. Yeah. It's just like, bro, to get two friends to go to Bossa Nova,
export.
It's like it's hard enough.
They do everything together,
they
really
do everything
though.
Together.
Oh, that was ill. I didn't even think about it that way. But on that beach, it was hundreds of people all working out together, wrestling together, running, jogging together. Like the community is so strong.
But I think it's like the American thing is that ruins that is the chase of money. Like everyone's just always chasing money, or like I feel like you go to these other countries and they're just so happy with what they have and the time that they have, and like you're like, damn, you don't got a job, you don't got to be somewhere right now, but it's like, no, they take time for themselves. Like
it's also our consumerism.
Yeah, they like take it day by day and like they're focused on themselves, and that gives them opportunity to focus on everybody else and bring a community together. Here, everybody's so focused on themselves, like you can't even focus on anything because you got people texting you all the time, sending you emails, and you this. So I think the chase of I guess chasing money is what is different out here.
I think another part of the concept of teranga that the Senegalese live by that occurs to me is that here you have a people who were Europe's entrance into the rape and pillage of the globe.
Yeah.
And still, throughout that history of trauma that they've experienced, they've maintained a communal respect, love, and generosity for one another. You know what I mean? Because indigenous people are that. Like, that's the way that our people were before the advent of Western, domination and colonialism. And it's amazing to see them maintain that, to still have that. You know what I mean? Because black people in America.
Yeah. And also, just to go on your point, it's just like, I feel like, Vic, like, since I've known you, like there's books that I read on my own, like Latin culture and, like Open Veins of America, and I'm studying as well, trying to find my roots and see where I come from and my lineage of people. And what's beautiful about you, and every time you speak up, even like listening to you now, like I think something that really helps me a lot is like how you want to find your own roots and your own stories and your own voices. Like I feel like you don't inspire just black people, you inspire Latin people to find our roots too, with our Mayan cultures, the things that we've talked about off the camera and stuff like that. So I think that's what I just wanted to say, because I'm listening to you right now, and it's like really a cool thing for you to help people find their roots and be like, okay, you are this, but you are that too, and don't forget that. And I think that's a very beautiful thing that you're doing.
Hey, no, I appreciate that. I mean, I think it's important that like we break down those distinctions. I mean, and the limitations between races, and obviously, like I'm African, so I explore African histories. But you got to know that African histories and South and Central American histories are very connected, like very intrinsically connected. And there's a lot of credible information that would lead to, there's a lot of credible information that Africans and Central and South Americans already established trade and traded ideas and architecture. I mean, look at the pyramids. You mean to tell me there's no connection from Egypt to Aztec, Mayan cultures, and they just created these pyramids, you know, separately, irrespective of each other? There's actually a book called They Came Before Columbus. It's about the Olmec heads that are found in Mexico and in the Yucatan, and using the facial structure, the wide nostrils. Do you know those Olmec heads?
Yeah, I know that, yeah.
A lot of people point to those to say that this is evidence of the presence of African people in South Central America and trade between the two, that they've been connected. You know what I mean? So I think that when you get deep enough into like studying your own direct histories.
They call her La Negra, you know? My
Hard.
grandma. Yeah.
She was super dark.
Yeah, she's super dark. It just goes to show you though.
I'm gonna call Vic the history book, bro. Like he knows so much. This
Wait,
guy
it
would.
matters to him. You know?
No, for sure. But even he, you know, I'm Colombian, and then he's like, yo, he was giving me a breakdown about Barranquilla, right? That's where he went, or Cartagena.
Palenque, outside of Cartagena.
Yeah. And he's like, bro, I got this tattoo.
Yeah, I got the
and I was
tat,
like,
bro.
Yo, he's like, yo, you know this statue? And then I was like, yeah. And I was like, nah, I actually
more
don't.
Colombian than you.
Yeah, I was gonna say this man lived it more. It's cool. Like you dive in and you study, which
I got the tat. I mean, I just got love for like, and I really have love for all cultures. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
For the world, for the humans.
for human beings, and I'm inspired by not only, you know, the Ghanaian and the Senegalese. I'm inspired by the cultures of Colombia and Venezuela and Mexico and everywhere, Asia. You know what I mean? I'm looking for it. That's why I think I'm also really inspired by the model of this video, like going to a new place, letting your production be your location, and finding intricacies, finding nuances, finding special things within that environment. You know what I'm saying?
And I think it's probably hilarious that like, you know, like my eye, the way I grew up with my eye is very different than maybe like the way you grew up with your eye and the way you grew up with yours. And when I, like every time I've been going to Africa, like it's just such a different experience every time, because they're like, why are you going to Africa? Because they're like, they're trying to come to America, or they're trying to go to the UK, and they're like, why are you coming here? Like there's less budgets, there's less resources, there's less things. But I think that's the beauty about Africa, is that when you get there, the people are so resourceful and so creative and so full of energy, and they're trying to figure out how to help you. They're trying to figure out how to make something work. And I think sometimes here in America, that's where like I have sets with big budgets and I can't even get people to help me. You know, it feels like my crew is fighting me. And so to be able to do it on iPhone just with you, it was just like, I felt it was just nothing but progression every day. And yeah, that's just been the beautiful thing about like shooting in Africa, I feel like. You know?
Man, you got a leg up though. Like you're in the right place at the right time, because by 2030 or 35, like I think 40% of the world's youth globally is projected to be in Africa. Africa is the only continent where population is rapidly increasing. Everyone else is having less children. Africans, they don't get no fuck. They like, man, more. So like Africa is already this sleeping giant, but it's going to wake up, because look at China. When you have strength in numbers in such a way, when you have population in such mass, then you know it's inevitable that economic
They definitely making babies in Africa. I'll tell
And
you.
even
I'll tell you
It's
right
inevitable that power follows, you know what I'm saying? So to be investing in Africa in the way that you are and that you are now, that you guys are focusing on Africa at this time and building these relationships, the same people that you're building with now, as Africa grows in might and in influence and power, those people are only going to grow. They're only going to become more significant. And you already working with some of the most serious people like on the continent, and those people are only going to become more crucial to the continent, to the world.
And I felt like that was like now when you were saying that, I'm like, it made me think of why I did this video. And I feel like sometimes, like, it's so funny, like, I've been to Africa more than a lot of Black Americans.
For sure.
And like every time I tell someone how many times I've been to Africa, they're very surprised, or certain places that I've been in Africa. And I remember you were like so excited to go, and you're like, I ain't even been. And it's like, it was really cool to see you like have that experience, like in terms of like Senegal. You got me like, well, I haven't been here before.
Yeah, no,
I
for
wanted
real.
to go, and
Always.
it's just like, and it was just so beautiful to see you and like kind of like, I did that with my friend Shaq when I took him to Nigeria. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm going to Nigeria for the first time. You gotta come, you Nigerian. How am I gonna go to Nigeria before you? And he's like, yeah, you're right. So he came with me, and like his face was just so like awed by like Africa and the country.
Fire.
And that's where like I saw you with Senegal. You were just looking at everything. You're like, I love this. I love this. Eating the mangoes. Bro, you had like 100 mangoes during that trip.
That's Shaq from Atlanta, the one who
Yeah.
you were with. Damn, I got to meet, bro.
Yeah. So it was a really beautiful moment. And I like, because, you know, being undocumented, and I know, Joan, you face some certain issues with this too, is like, you know, you don't really, like, you're stuck in a country where you can't leave, but you can't leave the country too, because the life that you have back there ain't good for you either. So you kind of feel stuck a little bit. So I feel like I always have like some like, not identity issues, but kind of like, am I American? Am I Spanish? Like, what am I? But I work with a bunch of hip hop artists in the Black culture, and they've shown me so many things. So I'm like, who am I? Like, I'm freestyle battle rapping, but I look like this, but Bad Bunny doesn't exist. And you're trying to figure out all these questions in life when you're young. And I felt like one of the things that I love doing, and I think this video helped me really understand that, is like bringing people closer to their homes. You got me? And being that tool, that resources, because it might be a total stranger from a whole other side of the world to come to Senegal and shoot a video with you when you would think it'd just be a Senegalese director. And I think that's why like the video is so unique, because I'm looking at it from a different eye, and we're both bringing our two different eyes from Chicago, from Florida, from Venezuela, from Ghana, from all these energies that made us who we are into the video. And I think that's why it's so original and so creative.